Newly minted offensive coordinator Tommy Rees in studio with us live here on Cleveland Browns Daily. It's got a nice ring to it.
Yeah, it sounds all right. Yeah, I'm happy with it. Yeah.
Is there when you think back when you have career achievement like this, do you allow yourself to think back when you were younger and when you thought this would be a career path for me? Obviously, you play quarterback at Notre Dame. You think you're going to play in the league, all those things for a long time. But was there a point when you said, okay, this is my path, and then to get to this point at your age is a remarkable thing?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't know if I ever thought I was going to play in the league. You know, like I kind of knew where I was going to tap out. You know, you get the job, and there's immediately so much that you need to do, that you want to do, that you're eager to get rolling on. So it's very rare to have a ton of opportunities for reflection. You know, this one I did have a moment after the interview. You know, there was a little bit of time and just, you know, talking with my wife and just said, hey, you know, if this does work out, this is kind of what we've always, you know, strived for. And but after that, pretty much no other time to reflect. You move ahead and you get ready for the job and you hit the ground running as soon as you're in here.
You had a bunch of options. What was it about this one that made you say this is where I got to be?
Yeah, there's a few. You know, I would start with the organization. I would start with Coach Stefanski. You know, I came here a year ago with really a lot of the belief and a lot of the reason being Kevin, wanting to learn from him, wanting to work for him. And then that belief has only grown being here. And then I would say, like, there are certain places across the NFL, across college football where, you know, whether it's the city, whether it's the organization, whether it's the division you play in, where football is at its peak and where football is a huge priority. And for me, I wanted to be in Cleveland. I wanted to stay with the Browns. I grew up, you know, with my dad being here, obviously following the team. But there's something about winning in this city that I'm really driven to do.
There's a parallel I tell a lot of our guys when they come in the show, and they're guys from big programs like the one you played at or like Alabama where you coached. And I said, if you don't have a point of reference on Cleveland, and I mean this the highest possible accounting of the city and the fan base and all of it, this is a big college type feel in the biggest possible way. And I mean that as a compliment because this whole city, the heartbeat of it is Browns football all the time. And a Sunday at 1 o'clock is the thing you do, much like it would be in the afternoon on a Saturday in Tuscaloosa or South Bend.
Yeah, it's a really good comparison. There's probably a lot of similarities there. You know, I think it probably touches the other sports teams in the city. You know, like everything's really focused around sports. It's a great dive bar town, so that's probably what stood out to me from the jump. But I have a lot of, you know, my wife's got a lot of family here. I have a lot of friends that are from here. One of my, you know, closest friends, Dan Fox, grew up here, went to Ignatius, played at Notre Dame. So, like, I've known what Cleveland's about for a long time, and there's a lot of things there that, you know, I'm about too. And when you look at winning at a place like this, I think it has an extra importance.
What do you look for in a proper dive bar? What are the characteristics?
Like above average food.
Just that's it. I like that though. Above it, not too good.
The above average food, locals, regulars. I mean, if there's carpet, great. If there's not, we'll be okay.
I look at a stool. I need a nice stool, nice back, something that looks like it's been there about 25 years. Minimum.
At least.
Minimum.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
Something with character, right? Like you're looking for character.
Yeah. Proper bar. I like that. You have had quite the coaching apprenticeship the last few years, starting at obviously at the alma mater and the folks you coached with there. Then you go to Alabama and coach for arguably the greatest college coach of all time under Kevin here. And you mentioned that was a big reason why you wanted to work here was with Kevin. But then you had Mike a lot this year with you and the tight ends. What have you been able to pick from all of those brilliant people that can now become who you are?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously take things whether you're conscious of it or not, you take things along the way from each of your stops. And then, you know, it's really how it fits into your personal spin and your personal character and characteristics and your personality. You know, I would say, like, going all the way back, I mean, I remember, like, Mike McCoy was our head coach in San Diego, and I remember the attention to detail that he had. I was in charge of drawing all the passes. And if you missed a parentheses, if you had any line that was out of point, like, he was going to, you know, make sure that it was corrected. And, you know, while I was there being around, you know, Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen were both really young coaches, and you walk in there thinking, like, hey, you know football myself. And then I got around those guys, and I was blown away with the knowledge. And it was like, okay, well, this is a whole nother level that you're striving for. So like the strive for excellence there, I talked about Brian Kelly in my press conference. I was with him 9 years as a player and a coach, and just the way he was able to delegate, the way he was able to run a program, how he wanted it done, the attention to detail he has from the top down was really critical in the success there. And then you get around Nick Saban and you think what hard work looks like, and then you're completely exposed to what it truly is. And there's really no secret on what's made him the greatest college coach of all time. I mean, his work ethic, his ability to have his finger on everything that's going on in the program there was truly remarkable. And another guy I want to just, like, my first coaching job, I was a GA at Northwestern for Pat Fitzgerald. And like, you talk about building, and I know whatever's out there, like, you talk about a culture where the players loved playing for a guy. Like, you won't see anything that rivals what Fitz had at Northwestern.
That's incredible. A bunch of leaders, man.
Yeah, a lot of really good, like I said, very fortunate. I look at all those as whether I was conscious of what I was grabbing from them or not, like, part of that rubs off on you. And even Marcus, like, I was there for his transition for year one, to see where he was in year one, how he wanted to build it, and to be able to, like, follow the vision play out. It's really cool. Like, he was very specific on what his vision for that program was. And you saw it play out throughout this season, and it was pretty cool to be able to be a part of that then, and now see where he's really gotten it to exactly what he saw it being.
You gravitate to really strong. You gravitate to and want to be around really strong, great leaders who are incredibly organized. I mean, there's a lot of parallels in all of the guys you just mentioned there. When you got the job here in the tight end room, what I said to folks was what you did with Saban at Alabama with that offense with Jaylen was as impressive a job as a kid who at the beginning of that season, I know he deserves a lot of credit for it, and I heard you mention that, a ton of it. By all accounts, an incredible kid. But an offense that was kind of broken at the beginning of that season to one that got all the way to the college football playoff, won the SEC. He was a borderline Heisman candidate by the end of it. What did you learn about yourself and developing the quarterback position that year at Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Our back was up against the wall, right? And we just kept fighting. We kept swinging. We had a great staff there at Alabama, so a lot of credit to those guys. And we just said, hey, here, we got to figure out what we can do well. We got to figure out how to maximize Jaylen because he does have talent. And let's just focus in on those things. And, week by week, we were able to add to that a little bit. To by the time we played Georgia in the SEC championship, we felt good about the full catalog of our offense. But really it was just finding a way to win games, finding a way to maximize what we had. And, again, give a lot of credit to Jaylen, give a lot of credit to that staff in terms of us just kind of bunkering down and saying, hey, our back's up against the wall. All we can do is fight out of it, and that's what we did. And I would say that's about as proud of a coaching moment as I've been a part of for that group of coaches and players to just, persevere through an early, a tough start to the season.
Really was, yeah. I think the thing that I pick up on there, and I think it's important, and you think about where we are. A lot of people are going to say, what are the Cleveland Browns offensively? And we heard today Kevin is going to go back to calling plays and all of that. And we certainly had an identity in terms of what the Browns were offensively. But I think the word's malleable.
Right.
You are the Cleveland Browns offense, but you have to build it to – is that fair? That's when you put together an offense, it can't just be this is who we are.
Right.
It's this is who we are with the players that we have.
Yeah, I think I used the word malleable in the presser, actually, so there we go.
State school for me, so that's good that we're on the same.
I'm glad it hit. But I think, you have to be player-centric, and you have to be able to maximize what your players do, and you have to be flexible enough to have enough in your offensive system that you can really focus on those things. And to sit here and say we're finding guys that fit exactly this, there's some of that. Like, you have roles that you want to fill out, but you also as a system need to say these are the guys we got to focus on and how can we maximize what they can do. Let's not talk about what they can't. Let's figure out what they can do and then go and move forward. And that, that's a huge credit to Coach Saban as well. I mean, he would always I don't want to hear about what they cannot do. Let's figure out what they can and find a way to maximize that.
With you as the offensive coordinator and Kevin as the head coach, what characteristics are paramount for you offensively?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what it looks like, or, you want a group that can play, and I know coaches use this term, but you want a group that can play sound, right? You want to line up and you want to look at the offense and say, okay, what they're doing schematically is putting their players in good positions, right? And when you talk about being sound, at the end of the day, it's that. Let's not run bad plays into bad looks. Let's not try to do things that are outside of our expectations. Let's do things that are sound. And within that, let's create space and opportunities to be explosive, both in the run game and the pass game. You know, I think you have to be able to hang your hat on something schematically in the pass and in the run. And so building that identity, building that foundation is really important as you get through these early parts of the offseason and into OTAs and all those, parts that really add up to building the team to where you want it to be.
You will obviously have a heavy hand in what comes next at the quarterback position here. What are non-negotiables for you at that position? What do those that player have to have?
Yeah, I mean, non-negotiables is a very cut and dry word, but I do think I said it earlier, like your ability to process and make decisions is really the key to this game. And that comes in a lot of different shapes and sizes. It comes in a lot of different skill sets. But at the end of the day, the guys that play at the highest level can process and make decisions in a split second because that's really what's required. Now, again, you're going to watch the playoffs this weekend, and all of those quarterbacks have a different skill set. So when you look at what it looks like physically, great. There's a lot of different ways to make that work. But what they can all do is process. They can all make good decisions, and they got to be able to solve problems on the field.
Get you out of here on this one. What is something – you've been here a year, but obviously much bigger role now. What is something this fan base maybe doesn't know about you that they should or that you would want them to know?
Yeah, I mean, winning in the city of Cleveland is extremely important to me after being here for 1 year, and living this every day for the last year, being a part of this organization, understanding what it's like to go into the stadium every Sunday. You feel it everywhere you go. Like winning for this organization, winning for this season is extremely important, and you're going to get a tireless effort from our offensive staff.
Well said, buddy.
Great.
Great to have you. Great to be the new offensive coordinator, the great Tommy Rees, in studio with us here.